6.7. Yeah, every support character is just a second elf. Not only that, but like every character. Not only is it like insane levels of support, but like insane amounts of iframes, insane amounts of like you play the game, you don't let the boss do anything, right? But and then suddenly when the boss does do something, it just feels really bad. It feels like the boss is cheating. Okay, so banner review today is what 623. Su Shang Li Su Shang. She's basically very important for ice teams. Definitely more necessary at the high end, at like 85 and above, 81 and above. If you're early game and whatnot, she's not as mandatory, but if you can afford to roll and still have enough for the upcoming patches, you may choose to do so. I will generally advise against that because I think, long term, if you're a long term player, you would want to avoid spending too much money. Okay, I'm a little bit more budget conscious in that regard. But she is farmable. The only problem with farming is you just have to play all the modes that are relevant and give you legacy and willpower. But next patch with Kira, like as a free to play, early game, you could probably get by with like Pardo, Kira, triple support type of thing. I think Fragile's done some testing with triple support. But maybe Fragile, do you remember if your triple support testing was also with Susang? I don't remember. JK, SSB, RC instead of HB. Depends on what boss. Okay, but that's still like high end stuff, right? So for a new account, you probably might not have the infrastructure necessarily to go out of your way to buy Susang right off the bat. I'd say that Susang is for most players is still gonna be like your main farming target for free to play players if you're playing long enough. If you're patient enough. So like reevaluate what your goals are. I'm gonna recommend for most players not to roll on this banner just because she exists in the shop to farm. But when I say she's in the shop to farm, that's still a stupidly long time horizon if you're slow farming from the shop. So weigh what your goals are and make a decision based on what your goals are. Like if you're only playing Honkai 3rd to play through the story, it's an easy skip, right? Like if you're playing Honkai 3rd and you're like, I'm gonna play for the story and then maybe in the future I'll go a little bit competitive and see how it feels. Skip for now and just slow farm and you can build her later. If you're hyper competitive, you'll probably want to aggressively farm, but I probably wouldn't spend crystals here because next patch is next week. So that's pretty much it in this case. Her gear is good, but it's kind of bait right before the next patch. I feel like we had this same banner review like 2 patches ago where they dropped the Sushang banner like right at the end of patch. So like yes but no, right? This is kind of like if you're a new player that has whale levels of spending power, you may opt to roll on the gear just to catch up. But if you're not whale spending power, I would probably just save for next patch. If you're determined to abandon physical, it's fine. Yeah, so that logic applies for a lot of things, right? Like if you are willing to sacrifice in an area of the game, that will enable you to roll on any of these current banners. We could even take a look at the off rates because we could say like Kia Radiance, it's like medium old meta now, right? HOFS has been out for quite a Flame Scion's been out for quite a while. It's still okay as a stat stick in some cases. It's not high priority anymore. Eye of the Collapse, kind of niche utility, and so is Falcon Flare. Uh, these are also kind of like medium old meta at this point. Blood Dance is old meta. Still kind of handy for like random double S strats, but I wouldn't put it. None of these are like ultra high priority anymore, other than the fist weapons. Astral Ren White Dwarf for Spina, and then Mitternacht for Official. Spina, if you missed out on her back in 5.5, she's kind of hard to go out of your way to pull for, unless again unless you have whale spending power. Uh, so this is probably one of the less good focus A's that we've seen in a long time. Off rates. I don't know if I like these off rates either. So, like, yes, the signature up rate is great. Bronya next for Silverwing. The value's kind of low. Nowadays, most players aren't even using the M piece anymore because Hersher of Truth's Bronya M is just better in that slot for Silverwing. Dickens is completely craftable. Linnaeus, you can kind of get by with G4 as an alternative if you for Mobius, kind of. And Willows is farmable too, craftable. So this is actually probably one of the worst focus A's that we've had in a long time. I probably wouldn't roll unless you are like absolutely turbo whale trying to catch up for competitive gameplay reasons. Yeah, I don't recommend this one. Focus B generally will have bad off rates anyway, so like yeah, these are like, this is again like Focus B is probably what you would want if you're a collector and you just want to have inventory. There's a couple of niche things like Avogadro that could be handy for double S fights, but it's like this is none of the stuff that you go out of your way to pull for. So just don't. Just don't. ADV banner, Flame Scion. Well, Flame Scion's in Battle Pass right now, so how spendy are you capable of? I'm just gonna wait till next patch and farm the Battle Pass next patch to get my rank ups to double S. But maybe some of y'all are like Kiana super stands, and you want to go all the way to triple S. So if you can afford that, more power to you. My recommendation for most players, 90% of the players, is just skip and maybe do Battle Pass instead. Or if you do your math based on how many fragments that you still need to the next breakpoint or whatever, you may opt to do like 1 or 2 10 pulls, but make sure you double check your math before you commit to that. Griseo! Just slow farm. I mean, okay. It is cheaper, but just slow farm. Just slow farm it. God, just slow farm it. You don't need to spend any resources here. Just save your tickets for Kira. Save your crystals for Kira gear. Just slow farm it. Griseo was great for her time. Most cases now, apart from our previous cycle where it was bleed weather, most cases you're gonna see, like, depending on the boss, you may end up just using Prometheus over Griseo. Is she entirely useless? No. But is she high priority? Not anymore. And then dorm. Hold on to your dorm tickets until the next spending event, I guess. That's it. Banner review, easy, just save. Thanks all for coming to the TED Talk.